I don't think this is the same old Cowboys team with bumbling Mike McCarthy and oh shucks Jason Garrett. Brian Schottenheimer seems like a different type of coach. He doesn't seem like one of these other guys that the Cowboys have had. And because of that, that's why I'm extremely high on the Cowboys this season. And I was high on them from the standpoint of I thought they were going to make the playoffs. I thought that they had potential to win a playoff game. But what I saw last Thursday was a completely different team. I didn't expect to see that last Thursday. My number one overreaction from week 1 of the 2025 NFL season is that I believe that the Dallas Cowboys are the best team in the NFC right now. I don't think that what we saw on Thursday was a fluke, because going over that game from Thursday, we have to look at it like this. I think Dallas came out and they played a really bad, they had a really bad game plan going into that game, which was not having a spy on Jalen Hurts and letting him run around and do all that he did in the first half of that game. Then they came out in the second half and they adjusted. You could make a case that if Dallas had a better first half game plan defensively against the Eagles and CeeDee Lamb makes catches that he's going to make throughout the course of the season, that, this team is going to be one of the very, very best, not just in the NFC, in the entire league. When you look at this team and how they were able to move around and push around the defensive front from the Philadelphia Eagles, I know they didn't have Jalen Carter, and I know that that's big, but we also cannot sit here and preseason PFF tell me that the Eagles have the best defensive line in football, and then when they lose one player, automatically their defensive line isn't good. I don't believe that's the case at all. Right? I think even without Jalen Carter, the Eagles still have a good defensive line. Obviously, it's much better with him on it, but I was very impressed with the movement that the Cowboys were able to get when they were getting downhill. They were physical at the point of attack. I think that on both sides of the line of scrimmage, I think the Cowboys were a more physical football team. They just did not execute, and they made mistakes in crucial moments. And I look at that and I say, wow, you're going into Philadelphia, and that's week 1, new head coach, new personnel that you have. You lost your best player the week prior, and you do that to the Philadelphia Eagles? I mean, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are a damn good football team. So for Dallas to go into Philly and look as good as they did in that game, yeah, I was very impressed with their performance. And I think that, when I looked at the Dallas Cowboys in years past, I said they're an undisciplined football team that beats themselves constantly. Is that the case with Brian Schottenheimer? I don't know. Could be different with Brian Schottenheimer. That's something that they've been preaching all training camp, all off season. We're going to be a more disciplined football team. And those attention to details are things that the Cowboys have been sorely missing, right? With Jason Garrett, with Mike McCarthy, with all those coaches. Ever since Jimmy Johnson, the details haven't been present in Dallas. And I feel like with Brian Schottenheimer, you're going to see more of the details be an emphasis. Not only that, I think that when you look at this offense, it's a very well-detailed offense with the shifts, with the motions, but they're purposeful shifts and motions. They're not just, hey, we're going to shift the guy to the right side of the formation just because we want to shift the guy to the right side of the formation. It's, hey, we're going to shift the guy to the right side of the formation, or we're going to motion a guy to the right side of the formation because we want this slot corner out of the box or whatever it may be, right? There's many ways and many reasons why you motion. So when I look at Dallas and I see some of the things that they were able to do last Thursday against Philly, I walk away very impressed with how they played the other day. And I think that Dak Prescott is in a stage of his career where he just doesn't care anymore. And not in a bad way, in a good way. He just does not care anymore. Whatever you have to say about him, I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares about being in your top 10. I don't think he cares about being in your top 5. I don't think he cares about what you have to say about him come postseason time. He looks like a guy who does not care anymore. He's letting the ball rip down the field. He's letting that thing go. He looked very confident. And mind you, right, this is against a really good Philadelphia Eagles secondary. They have Quinyon Mitchell back there. They have Cooper DeJean back there. And Dak Prescott looked very confident letting that thing rip down the field. Is that more of a Philly secondary thing, or is that more of a Dak Prescott thing saying, I'm going to let this thing go? I think when you look at the defense, it's an unfinished product. I don't love what they have at linebacker. Their defensive line, I thought, was actually very good against the Eagles once they adjusted and made their adjustments and did what they had to do defensively when it came to stopping the run. And I mean, look, Saquon Barkley, he ran for 65 yards the other day? It's impressive. It's wildly impressive. So I'm very high on what I saw from the Cowboys. I think Matt Eberflus is a damn good defensive coordinator. It looks like Brian Schottenheimer knows how to coach, and they have the personnel that makes you say, wow, this team could really be something this upcoming season. And, I looked at all the teams in the NFC that I thought were like legit contenders in the NFC. I saw the Rams the other day. I wasn't impressed with that football team. I saw the Lions the other day. I was not impressed by that football team. The Vikings, they looked really good in the second half of that Bears game. But I thought that the Vikings were going to look like what they looked like in the second half of that game, in the first half of that game. Philly, I think Dallas legitimately could have put a big number on Philly if they would have executed better and if they had a better game plan. If they play Philly and Dallas, they're going to beat Philly. So, when I look at the top teams in the NFC and I compare them to Dallas, the team right now that I think stands in the way of Dallas, that's probably going to be the biggest pain in their behind, is Green Bay. But I think that they match up pretty well with Green Bay. I think that they can beat Green Bay. It's going to be very interesting to see week 4 what happens there, because I think you're potentially looking at an NFC championship preview. I don't think this is the same old Cowboys team with bumbling Mike McCarthy and oh shucks Jason Garrett. Brian Schottenheimer seems like a different type of coach. He doesn't seem like one of these other guys that the Cowboys have had. And because of that, that's why I'm extremely high on the Cowboys this season. And I wasn't I was high on them from the standpoint of I thought they were going to make the playoffs. I thought that they had potential to win a playoff game. But what I saw last Thursday was a completely different team. I didn't expect to see that last Thursday. What I saw last Thursday, how productive they were offensively, and how, honestly, when you look at it in the second half of that football game, I think that their defense played well because of how well their defense played. If you get what I'm saying, get my drift here. Dallas was able to get stops in the second half of that game because their defense played well. Philly got stops in the second half of that game last week because Dallas didn't execute. And all is fair, right? At the end of the day, a stop is a stop. It doesn't matter how you get it. You got the stop. But I'm just saying that's what I observed there.